Hello, I'm Ann Turnbull, and I'm so delighted to have this opportunity to say happy birthday, Public Law 99-457. As I look back over the last 4 decades of my life, I realize what a morphed perspective I have had. Morphed in the sense of coming to issues as a parent of a son with significant disabilities who was transitioning to adulthood at the time that 99-457 was passing. And also as a university professor and as a university professor, my major focus over the years has been on family support and on quality of life for people with disabilities and families. In the early years, when Jay was before he started school in the early intervention, early childhood ages, there were no programs that had prepared professionals. And the type of work with families was one that, as I look back, might be called parent involvement. It was parent involvement to raise money for the program, parent involvement to volunteer in the program, parent involvement to follow through with what was happening in the center-based program by teaching the child at home. And what I was feeling and thinking at the time, as well as my husband, was that we were already busy to the max. And then having a child with a disability meant that there were all of these parent involvement activities way over and above what was expected of us and what our role was for our two daughters who did not have a disability. What I saw from a morph perspective is that what we needed was a Copernican revolution. And instead of the service program being in the center of the universe, the service program at that time that was often in church basements, staffed by very well-meaning, very caring and compassionate people, but people who did not have professional development in early childhood. So rather than the service program being the center of the universe with the family revolving around it and the family expected to volunteer and to raise money and to be a follow-through educator, no, it was that the family is the center of the universe. The family is the center of that child's universe. And the services, the special education, the physical therapy, the speech therapy, the occupational therapy, the psychological services, the recreation, the community support, the religious community, all of these things are revolving around the family. And the role then of service programs is to support the family. What we know at the other end of the lifespan is that approximately 80% of adults with developmental disabilities live with their parents until their parents die or until their parents are no longer to take care of them. Families are the long-term care system in the United States for adults with significant disabilities. And the goal then is to support them. Well, now, how does all of this tie to 99-457? And the issue is 99-457 really was the Copernican revolution in disability policy across the lifespan and in early childhood, because 99-457 for the first time was a disability policy that said it was not only the person with the disability, not only the child, but it was also the family who was a unit of support. And the individualized family service plan and service coordination and the identification and responsiveness to families' priorities and concerns and resources, this is revolutionary. And 30 years later, it is still revolutionary because no other piece of disability policy has been so focused on the family. So here we are, a birthday of 30 years. What will 40 years be like? What will 50 years be like? And my hope is that we will continue to refine and to bring into evidence-based practice and to be consistent with the Department of Education's new early childhood family engagement policy, that we will see that what we have learned from early intervention can truly lead the way for family support for all people. So in closing, I want to refer to President John Kennedy, and I want to paraphrase him in saying that 99-457 asks not what families can do for service programs, but rather 99-457 asks what service programs can do in developing trusting partnerships to further family outcomes as well as child outcomes. Happy birthday, Public Law 99-457.